We're going to be going over our way too early Big 12 conference rankings post transfer portal here in this video. We're going to be covering all the transfers coming in and leaving each program and also use KenPom, of course, like we always do to make our rankings. So let's jump right into it. Going into next season, we have our number one team here in the Big 12 as Houston. Houston has one specific player returning who's arguably the best defensive player in the country. On top of that, they have a stellar transfer portal coming in. I think it's one of the more underrated ones. Last season, they were fourth in terms of KenPom defense and 15th offensively. So, offensively, they did want to improve here. But let's just start here with Don Thomas Jr. coming in from LSU. He averaged 15 points a game and 6.5 assists. That was before a foot injury. Just stopped his season here. Um, and he's just put up great numbers for an LSU team that started off hot. And if you guys remember, Don Thomas with him in the lineup, and without him in the lineup was a completely different LSU team. We saw in the KenPom too for the first, 15-ish games that he was playing. So in the games he played, they were 12-4, and the games he missed were 3-13. So that is an insane number here. And if we look at the start of the season where he was playing, you see he was just leading the team in assists game after game after game. They had wins against Drake. One bad loss to Texas Tech, but they beat SMU. Had 12 assists in that game. This is right where he went down around that Texas A&M game, and as you see, LSU struggled. And again, LSU was a really good KenPom team. They were hovering in that top 25 KenPom offense when he was in the lineup, from what I remember. They did end the season at 45, so that is a huge indicator for me as to the talent coming in for Houston here. And on top of that, they added Del Recco Gillespie. He's coming in from Kent State, averaging 70 points a game, 11 rebounds, 50% from the field, all MAC first team and a MAC defensive team as well. So, just a all around player they're getting in him. Definitely looks to be a double double machine. And yeah, a huge, huge piece coming in at that big position for Houston. And I mean, the all defensive team kind of speaks for itself for Houston, right? So that's on top of Thomas Jr. They also add Braden East coming in from Lamar, 12 and 9 from him. And Corey Hadnot, a player from Purdue Fort Wayne, 20 points a game, 4 rebounds, 3.5 assists, and 52% from the field. He was the Horizon League scoring leader. So this is all the talent coming in for Houston. Of course, a lot of turnover for Houston, but it just seems as if they have plenty of talent coming in to be the very, very top of the Big 12, and that's why we have number one. And on top of that, like we mentioned before, they have Joseph Tugler returning. This guy is arguably the best defender in the country. I didn't even believe that he was only a junior. That I literally thought he was older just because of how great he is and how great of a defender he is. But they have him returning. So that Houston defense is just set, and a lot of talent coming in. We have to put him at number one. Number two we have is Arizona. Of course, they have a lot of guys going into the NBA like Braden Burries. A lot of talent going to NBA. I mean, they have Dwayne Aristod transferring. That was their center, backup center, and then they do have a lot of returning talent. And that is why I think they'll be able to keep that defensive identity at least. With Krivas returning, he's returning, coming in with 10 points, 8 rebounds a game, 2 blocks. So definitely a defensive foundation that they have returning, and on top of that, they have Ivan Karchenkov coming back as well. He was just a freshman last year, but two, key pieces to that defense last year. They do have a lot of talent as well with Derek Dixon. He averaged about 9 points a game, but he shot really well from deep. Um, and again, he was only a freshman last year at North Carolina, but 39%, almost 40% from three-point range for Arizona coming in, 6'5" guard. So definitely a lot of talent to be a potential talent right here. So we have Arizona at two, and that is big time on their defense. They had number two defense in the country in terms of KenPom last season. So look for them to continue an elite defense, if not their offense as well. But definitely why we have them this high is we think their defensive identities should remain with their returning big men. Next team we have is Texas Tech. Of course, they have JT Toppin returning from injury. This team finished with the 14 KenPom offense, 34th defensively. But of course, JT Toppin, one of the best players in the country, returning. On top of that, they have a stellar uh, backcourt with Cruz Davis coming in from Hofstra, 20 points a game, 40% from three. He was a CAA Player of the Year, was Cruz Davis. Let's just pull up his numbers here. Yeah, just stellar numbers for him, and also steal a game to add on top of that. 6'3" junior. So on top of his talent, they have Draw Gibbs Lawhorn coming in from UNLV, 20 points a game, all Mountain West first team, and he was also the Mountain West Newcomer of the Year. So this is just a excellent backcourt acquisition. Both of these guys for this Texas Tech team to pair on top with JT Toppin's talent. So you know what you're getting from him. And yeah, he also shot 41% from deep. So, elite shooting, elite scoring coming with him coming in from UNLV. He did play at Illinois as well, his first 2 seasons. So coming in from prestigious program right there. So we do have Texas Tech here at three. And of course, the injury concern of JT Toppin returning is, a little bit worrisome, but, that backcourt when him should make it, they should be competing for the top of the conference. Iowa State, we have coming in at four. They have a lot of losses, especially with Milan Momcilovic leaving. That's huge. They have Taman Lipsey also not there anymore, and also Joshua Jefferson, all not going to be there next year. They had the top five. They had a top five defense last year, 21st offensively, which is worrisome last season. But they were top five defense with those guys I just listed that are no longer going to be on the team. They went ahead and added Jaquan Johnson from Bradley, 17 points a game. 42% from the field and 38% from three, all MVC first team and the MVC defensive player of the year they're getting in him. So that is a huge talent that they're adding here for Iowa State. He's 5'11", but yeah, he is a definite stud that they're getting to, of course, replace a player like Taman Lipsey's minutes. Um, yeah, and he averaged 2.5 steals a game. 2.5 steals a game. So absolute stud coming in for Iowa State. And also Trey Singleton, a transfer from Northwestern, 7 points a game, 5 rebounds. But again, they did lose a lot. Milan Momcilovic can be, arguably the best offensive player in the country next season. So, a lot to replace here for Iowa State, but we have him here at four. Coming in at five, this could go either way, 4-5, but we have Baylor. Baylor actually came in with a stellar class as well. They have Caden Mingo coming in from Penn State, 13 points a game, 47% from the field, 2.1 steals a game. So that's hopefully that really improves their defense, right? They were 103rd in terms of KenPom defense. So yeah, that's definitely worrisome from last year, but start with him, Brett Decker Jr., who they also went ahead and added. And let me add on the Caden Mingo uh, thread as well here. Caden Mingo was only a freshman last season at Penn State, so a lot of potential here for him joining this new team here at Baylor. And on top of that, they added Brett Decker Jr., who shot 47% from three. 47%, almost made three and a half threes a game for a great Liberty program. Liberty is usually in March Madness. 70 points a game as well from him, 50% from the field. So again, this is why we could have Baylor even higher just because of those guys. But they also went ahead and Isaac Salazar from Yale, who also has stellar numbers. So if we look at his numbers coming in from Yale, going into his junior year now, 40%, almost 41% from three. He doesn't shoot a lot, but that's excellent numbers to build on. 57% from the field, 13 points a game, 6 rebounds. So Baylor has a ton of guard and forward talent coming in. He was also second team All Ivy. So a ton of talent coming in for Baylor, and they could definitely compete for the top of the Big 12 from what it looks like. And it could have that, like we said, 4-5 can flip flop in our rankings here, but Baylor definitely has a lot of talent coming back. Of course, they lost Yusefa to St. John's, but a nice haul for Baylor for sure. BYU coming in at six, of course, when you don't have the number one overall NBA draft pick, which propelled them to that 12 offensive ranking, which they were around the season before too, but. 12th offensively, not having him, and Dibansa, and 59th defensively. They did return Robert Wright the third. He was in the portal initially, but decided to stay. So that's a huge, add and return for next season. And also went and added Colin Chandler from Kentucky, almost 10 points a game, 41% from three. So a lot of offensive talent to help, replace that Richie Saunders, void that they'd have next year. And yeah, just they're gonna look to these guys, especially, to carry their guard and offense and just their offense in general. So, of course, we have them at 6 here when they lose the number one overall pick. Kansas, we have at seven. We have them this low because of their 58th KenPom rank offense last season. They haven't been great offensively, Kansas, as we're used to, of course, but they did have a top 10 defense at that nine spot. They did go ahead and add a lot of talent. Leroy Blyden Jr. from Toledo, 16 points a game, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 41% from three. So, a nice haul right there. Keanu Dawes from Utah, 12 points a game, 8.8 rebounds. My only concern with Utah, with players coming in from there, they had the 214th defensive rankings. They were a top 100 defense. Utah was, but 214 is very concerning. And then Christian Reeves, College of Charleston, 11.7 rebounds, 1.5 blocks. They've of course lost Flory Bidunga to Louisville, Bryson Tiller, Marco Jones, Jackson. So, a lot of key losses here for Kansas. Bidunga was like the number one, number two, player in the portal. So, they did lose him. So we have them here at seven. Next team we have is TCU. They did lose David Punch to Texas. They had a great defense last year at 22, 22nd KenPom ranking. But losing David Punch to Texas was a huge loss. 14 points, 7 rebounds a game. That was coming from him last season. They went ahead and added Gavin Murphy, a transfer from State Fair College. He averaged 10 points over there a game and shot almost 50% from deep. So, they're hoping for production from him to help offensively, but they do have a lot of losses going into next year, and they did, make it to the second round of the NCAA tournament. We have them here at eight. Cincinnati, they did lose their center to Michigan, Thiam, to of course, an elite Michigan program, and he was a big reason why they were a 10th KenPom ranked defense. Cincinnati was last year an elite defense, but losing him is huge. Um, 132 offensively is concerning, but they went ahead and have a nice haul here with a couple players. Riley Allensbach from George Mason, 13 points a game, 56% from the field, 6 rebounds. So that is a really nice pickup right there. And then a couple other players, from mid-major teams. Alice Colvin, transferred from Wake Forest. So they have a nice haul here. And, this is an elite defensive program here in Cincinnati. We have them here at nine. The offense is the concern. So, it'll be up to their transfer guys here to, pick that up. Colorado, they lost Isaiah Johnson, another player that lost to Texas. Another player lost to Texas, 17 points a game. He was a freshman last year, 48% from the field, almost 38% from three. So that is a key talent that Colorado lost. And again, if they kept him, they could have been able to probably really build on that top 55 KenPom offense. But they went ahead and added Justin Neely, UNC Greensboro, 18 points a game, 11 rebounds, 54% from the field. So, a nice haul, but, they did lose a really talented guard. So we have them here at 10. UCF we have at 11. This was a top 50 offense and top 100 defense. So, a good team from UCF. We have them here slotted at 11. Going down to West Virginia at 12. It's again, this is a program that just we trust their defensive identity and to have them, in the middle of the pack. Top 20 KenPom defense that just speaks for itself all the time with West Virginia. Offense outside the top 100, almost outside the top 125. West Virginia slotted here at 12. Arizona State, they added a great player in Paulus Maracas from St. Mary's, 18 points a game, 7 rebounds. We know St. Mary's has had coaching changes, but this is a huge add for Arizona State to build onto next season. And we have them here slotted because, they're not a great offense, not a great defense either. They're kind of, good in both ways. They were last year, so, they were really gonna rely on the St. Mary's transfer to, carry them throughout the year. Next team we have is Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State was outside the top 150 KenPom defense, top 50 offensively, but that is a bad defense. They added Luka Bogovac from North Carolina, one of their big haul pieces here. 7 points a game, 4 rebounds, 40% from three. So that is a nice talent that they're getting. And a couple players from Sam Houston as well. We have them here slotted at 14. They're really going to have to improve their defense next year. 15 we have is Kansas State. This was one of our most disappointing teams from last season. They had PJ Haggerty. He went to Texas A&M. They lost him. Abdi Bashir Jr. If you guys remember, just a few seasons ago, he literally averaged the most threes per game in the country. These are two pieces that, they hope to really carry them last year. They really underachieved outside the top 100 KenPom offense and defense. So, not good either way, especially to compete in this conference. So we have them here slotted at 15. Next team we have is Utah, and this is the final team in our rankings. We had to put a team this low that has a defense outside the top 200. So a bad defense from Utah in a good conference, a great conference. Top 100 offense, but that defense is very, very concerning. And yeah, that wraps it up for our very early, way too early Big 12 rankings. Again, we have Houston who stands out alone at the very top. I think Houston just stands alone because of their haul, and also they have Joseph Tugler returning. So their defensive identity is definitely still gonna be there. It'd be very shocking if they're not an absolute elite defense again, Houston. And they have a lot of offensive talent as well with Thomas Jr. at that guard spot. Gillespie, who's he's both ways. He's a defensive stud and offensive. Double machine here, as you see by his numbers, 50% from the field. Corey Hadnot, a scorer, the Horizon League scoring leader, and again we have Joseph Tugler returning. So Houston number one, and then teams like Arizona, Texas Tech, Iowa State, Baylor, kind of competing for that, second to top tier as well, and then kind of everybody else in our honest opinion. But if you guys like this video, you can always go to collegebasketball.info to check out this article and other way too early conference rankings. Leave a comment over there. It really helps. And again, like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Until the next one, y'all. Peace.